And welcome back to Final Fantasy 3 Pixel Remaster. Well, it's time to... Well, after airborne investigation to find some caves and all that kind of nonsense, it's time to go and check what is this really big location around here. Well, there's some smoke, so let's just go and look it out. Oh, looks like I was just suffered anti-air attack. Oh yeah, so I just fell right on top of the Saronia castle. Ah, and something... Well, there's horses, cannons, and... apparently somebody likes to have a civil war. And City King has decided that nobody wants to get inside. Nobody is supposed to be getting inside the castle. Well, of course, that is quite rational view. But now, Saronia is really big place. It's got 4 quadrants and a castle. So let's just start investigating these quadrants and see what's going on. Yeah, I know. So the castle is isolated. And there's some sort of sinister counselor, all kinds of nonsense. So King just decreed that let's put a civil war going on. I would not call that particularly sane policy, but well, Dragoon can defeat the avian monster Garuda. Well, that means that lucky for me, because that means that I have quite many Dragoons in my team. Here's another castle part of around here. Dragon Spire. Place crawling with monsters. Well, I think that's something like a tells instruction to say that go there and get whatever there is. Oh, and a chocobo. Which is quite pointless, seeing that there will be no nothing will attack you in here. So let's just take it away. Yeah. And well, there's the spire, so let's just start climbing it and see what's happening in here. Enemies. So let's just use the signature ability of Dragoons, which is say jump. Yeah, it does a lot of damage once the Dragoon comes down. And also stop them from being attacked. So that should tell you how efficient Dragoons can be against enemies, which say they can do a lot of damage. And loot. And the spears, equipment, and some items. And more enemies. Yeah, just a little enemy encounter. And nothing really interesting. Place was crawling with monsters. Well, only two encounters, so that is not that much of a, you could say, crawling with, but it still means that read. Now let's just make use of the fleeing ability, which I have never shown before. Yeah, just run away. Well, that place was uninteresting. And while I'm at it, let's just make everybody into dragoons, capable of causing really big burst of damage once it starts to get busy. Yeah, more info about locations being stuck under the big underwater tunnel. Oh yeah, library closed. Libraries in these kind of games means plenty of exposition to be had about plot. Yeah, that's a big hint, which has been repeated several times, that a dragoon is needed to defeat a boss, which is a giant bird. So nothing really big and interesting things happening around here. So another little piece of city. Yep. Oh yeah, I know that. Yeah, that's a big bird. That's chocobo. It has basically gotten lost its gameplay. Gameplay functions have. I think the Final Fantasy IV was the last one where big fat chocobo had the gameplay function. But it's a storage bin. You can put stuff in there and take it out. Yeah. It's a nice little detail. Reviving spring literally revives characters. Oh, so and a fight against local thugs, the old knights. Yeah, they're missing, and then they get oops, it misses and gets promptly speared from above. Oh yeah, well... Oh, well, it's an old-fashioned story thing that maybe Crazy King doesn't respond to people who are meant to be, whose job is to tell that, you know, that policy is quite stupid, but maybe he might listen to his son. So I guess I just go to his. I guess I will now go to the castle. And that was it. That was quick. And now let's try to have a chat. So King does seem to have listen to his offspring's counsel if he doesn't listen to counsel of his others. So. So, King decided to attack. And so as evil minister. So, there was this mention about the giant bird monster Gahuda, which is true, and it was possessing or disguised as King's counselor, so let's just... And they said, don't dragon can defeat it, so full front of jump attacks. It really did work. And that was the only time in the game where Dragoon was basically very necessary class to use. So the king was being controlled by his counselor and would rather die than not kill his children, which is wild. So there's a new king. Yeah, I just revealed a conspiracy and caused a new king to the state. So let's just go into here. That's a hint about where to go, or at least at one location, underwater temple. So this would be the first Final Fantasy in which there would be Temple of Time. A treasure vault. Yeah. So he just gave the basic permission of It just basically gave the permission that, yeah, feel free to go and loot everything in the castle, which is quite a good, handy advice that, which will be very much made use of as well. Rusty nails. I wonder if they have actually any. Is it actually just useful or useless? Or is it just something that sell away? More loot, nothing more complex than that. But otherwise the castle doesn't... these guys just say the same thing again. Hooray, you are heroes. Of course I'm heroes, that's our job. So, now I know something about what is that Xande there's been mentioned. There's a few times mentions that he's a disciple of some great magician Noah. And some bizarre turning around structures in basement, and some sinister looking dude in basement, but not present in here. Yeah, there is, because I can see that guy over there stomping around with his 2 microphone frames. It could be a bonus boss, or secret boss, however you wanna call it, and not that well hidden, of course, because it's that old game. So, I lost my airship and I get a new one. And a classic comedy bit. The Nautilus. Now I have a new and improved airship that can get me right through the storm. So it is actually time to, well, do it directly. Yep, now it just zips right through all these locations, but it still can't land on ground. So there's a tunnel where I couldn't walk, but now I can fly through it. And there's some random encounters in the air. Actually, no. This Nautilus could land on ground. But here's Doga's manor. Here's the one of them. So, the great wizard Doga intends to join me to stop his colleague. So, but what might be? Well, yeah, I think it would be kind of a bad deal, and he caused a great earthquake as well while he was at it. Moogle, I don't really know how much of you could say that was this a first time in Final Fantasy games that Moogles would appear. But if this was, it would be quite... Yeah. So there's another location I would have to be going, which would be the Cave of the Circle, which would be somewhere else as well. Well, first there's a little bit of couple of critters to wipe out first. That took just seconds, so don't worry about that. Or gave a little bit of loot. And this tunnel is the only place in the game where, actually no, there's another location where you may get attacked when you are flying with the airship. But there was no, I couldn't land here. So I guess it would be time for me to go and find where Yune is, which is right here. So let's just go and have a chat with her. Well, apparently this is not the place to go. Oh, it's right in his own mansion. Well, I have to go back. And here I got now back to the mansion. And there was the secret switch to this little make ourselves shrink. And I think this is the only game in Final Fantasy series where you deliberately had to put yourself some sort of status ailment to get through. And this is just basically one room that you can get through. So I'm just gonna use the magnificent cheating ability of turning off the encounters, because there's not much of interest in this place. There's no treasures, as can be seen from the map. Although if you wanna be hardcore, you can always turn the map off and just slowly walk right through the cave. Of course, in the original one there was no chance of turning off the encounters, because it was, well, it wasn't bad. It's not a bad game, because, well, I think that, well, of my personal experience, only one Final Fantasy game can be said to be bad. Two can be said to be not that good. And even though the not that good one what? So now I have a even better super submarine. When I say super ship, it zips through the air real fast. It can land, it can dive in water. And there was mention about some secret location around here near this triangular island. So let's just do the test run to the submarine and see what's going on. Oh yeah, there's a cave inside under the sea. So let's just do a little bit of walking around in here. And there are enemies, of course. Which do magics. But the gameplay-wise, this place has... Or story-wise, this game is completely pointless. It's got just some enemies and loot you can take. So... There's no need to show this location, because I'm gonna go to the actual location... Show the actual location I am supposed to be going. Although, once the northerners comes flying, of course there's that location. Then there was mention about near Saronia that there's a entryway to there as well, which I also came along with the tunnels. I can go to these catacombs as well, which would allow me to go and search for the secret summon Odin first appearance. That would be the identity of the guy stomping around with two massive iron frames, and of course, well, that's the frozen continent. And it was a clear mention that it's in here between the horns, the actual location where I'm supposed to be going. And of course, underneath the sea you will also get attacked by all kinds of critters. But they are not that extremely dangerous. So Temple of Time is the place where I will be going next time. See ya!